The Almost Perfect Podcast.
Welcome to the Almost Perfect Podcast, a celebration of fuck-ups, failures, and falling flat on your face. This is a podcast that believes you can learn from experience, but that experience doesn't have to be your own. Hi, I'm Bob Perfect, and I'm a functional fuck-up. Let's learn from somebody else's mistakes. And today we're learning from Thanda Kunene. Now, Thanda is an art director and photographer, but he's got many talents in between those two things. And he's also got a deep love of music and occasionally spins some tunes. So Thanda, is a multi-talented, very unique individual who I've known for a very, very long time and whose approach to life I've always appreciated. Thanda is definitely a unique individual. He's someone who has always gone his own way. He's always just followed his own path, and it's led to some really cool, interesting things. And we chat about some of those cool, interesting things on this podcast. Apologies to you for this podcast coming at you so fucking late. I actually had this edited and ready for you like 2 weeks ago, and then the morning that I was meant to go live, I even had a whole different intro recorded, but obviously I can't go with that one now. But I woke up, tried to turn my computer on, and computer said no. So it's been 2 weeks of trying to sort that out. So I've had to get a new motherboard. I've had to, just be patient and wait. And it's been frustrating because obviously, I want to keep this thing going. I had a bit of a break, and now I just really, really want to get into some sort of consistent vibe and get this going every Friday again. So this week, it's just coming out now on the Wednesday, but from next week, I've already got the next episode lined up, and I'm going to have a few more just in the bag, banked in the fucking Google Drive as well, backed up, just so that I don't have these issues anymore, because man, I fucking love doing this, and when I don't get to, it really, really, really fucks with me. Anyway, this is a listener-supported podcast, which means you can support it by going to patreon.com/almostperfect. And there's a bunch of different tiers there. There's a whole lot of different benefits. I suggest you go check it out yourself, because I don't want to talk too much here. Like I said, I just want to get this out there. But very importantly, I do want to give some shout-outs, not just to the titular titles tier, although I will be giving shout-outs to those people now. I want to give shout-outs to people who have been involved for over a year in the Patreon, whether it's at the $1 level, whether it's at the $5 level, whether it's at the $10 level. There's some people that have been doing this thing and have been supporting this podcast for over a year, and there's some that have actually been doing it for nearly 2 years. On October 18th, 2018, Gareth Morris Hale became a patron, and he has been a patron the entire time. So shout outs to you, Gareth. Shout outs to Raj Short, who's also been for over a year, Vashendra Naidu over a year, Stephen Olafia over a year, Matthew Stroud over a year, Martin Barrios over a year, Richard Phipson over a year, and Rousseau for over a year. So thank you for your continued support, because you wouldn't have this podcast right now if you guys didn't support this. Genuinely, fucking genuinely. I had a little bit of money saved and was able to pay for the new motherboard without it completely fucking ruining my life. So thank you so fucking much. It does mean that the extra merch is going to be a little bit late. I have submitted a quote to the print room. Well, I've asked for a quote from the print room for ashtrays, shot glasses, and stickers. So we're going to chat to them, and hopefully in the next month or two, depending on how things go, we're going to have some ashtray, shot glasses, and stickers that if you're a patron, you're likely going to just get those things sent to you for free at different times. And if you're not, I'll let you know pricing, and you can just hit me up and we can sort that out. Also, there's about 10 mugs, 9 mugs, 8 mugs. There's not that many mugs left, and I'm not sure when I'll be getting more printed. It will be sometime next year. So if you want an almost perfect mug, they are 100 Rand, and 10 Rand from each sale goes to Sasonke. Sasonke is an organization that is working to decriminalize sex work in South Africa. And it's something I feel quite strongly about and want us to work towards. So 10 Rand from each mug sale goes to that. And we'll do delivery postnet to postnet, $100. So hit me up. You can hit me up on bob@almostperfect.co.za. Also, I need to give the shout outs to the titular titles tier. here on patreon.com/almost perfect. This is a $10 tier. This is the top tier that you can be a part of for the Almost Perfect podcast. And it also means you get shouted out each and every single week that this podcast goes out right here on the Almost Perfect podcast. So shout out to Chief Sales Officer of Subtle Heresies in the Greater Overberg region, Rousseau. Shout out to Karan Sleman as well, the Almost Perfect youth group leader. He is going to be leaving that position soon, but fuck, dude, thank you so much for everything you've done, and I can't wait to actually get you on the podcast. We're going to have a good chat probably next month or the month after. Karan is actually a producer that goes by the name of Parable, and I highly recommend you check out his work. So thank you for all your support, bro. Much, much appreciated. Also, shout outs to King Julian, longtime supporter of my comedy and this podcast. Fuck, dude. Much, much, much appreciated. And then also shout out to Stephen Olafia, who's the executive producer. And then lastly, shout out to Vishendra Naidu, who is the spiritual advisor. Once again, people who have really just come on board and helped me out so fucking much with this thing. So nothing but love for all of you. Thank you so fucking much. I have been really, really busy lately. I have been doing work. I have been getting stuff out there. It's been good. I'll probably tell you about most of it next week, but stuff that you need to know about at the moment, I have got an article I've got an interview with Lex Lafoy up on redbull.co.za. So that is on the social medias, my personal social media. Well, I don't really have personal social media anymore. On the Almost Perfect social media, you can go find that article, or you can just Google Lex Lafoy Red Bull, and you should be able to find that interview. And coming up next week for OK Africa, I'm going to be chatting to Push Push. Both of them have been guests on this podcast. You can go get to know them yourself in the podcast, or you can read what they've been up to, what they've been doing. This week, like I said, on Red Bull is Lex Lafoy, and next week with OK Africa is going to be Push Push. She just put out a fantastic EP. I've been bumping it so much lately. I've really been enjoying it a hell of a lot. So I'm looking forward to chatting to Nikki again. Hopefully we won't talk too much about the current situation, and I'm not going to talk at all about the current situation in America. Just if you are there, shout outs to you. I fucking I don't know what to say, so I'm not going to fucking say anything. And I think that brings us to the end of this intro. I know there's tons of other things I probably should tell you, but like I say, I really just want to get this out there. It's been gnawing away at me, and I just want you to hear this conversation. So here comes the Almost Perfect podcast with Thanda Kunene. So how are you living, Thanda?
Oh man, it's been such a wild one. Um, I think I've lived like 6 lives in 2 years. Yeah, I've been doing so many things. I'm personally just tired, but I can't quit now or stop or whatever. So yeah, man, yeah, I don't
Well,
know how to explain that.
that doesn't sound bad though. I mean, in comparison to like the world at the moment, that actually sounds pretty good, to be living multiple lives, to be very busy, to be a bit tired, that means you've obviously been getting up to quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I also left the whole freelance space, and I moved into the more advertising, creative side of things. So that's
Okay.
also been yeah, it's been quite a 360 for me
Adjustment.
because yeah, and also just the way of thinking is also like quite different
Less
to
freedom.
how it's just I don't know. It's got more order,
Okay.
but it probably has less freedom. But also it has it takes a lot of your shoulders as well because you have people doing admin now for you. You have someone doing something else. You just have to apply the part that you are good at. Whereas before, you are your own secretary, your own accountant, your own. You are the creative. You are the director. You're everything really.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think I know what that's like, eh?
so yeah, in that sense, there's a positive feed to it. I mean, it also just takes away from your freedom. So there's not much relaxation anymore. You can't, yeah, you can't really plan your calendar and say, okay, cool, today I worked so hard for the past 2 weeks. Let me chill for 2 days. There's none of
Or you,
that. Every day,
or even I worked so hard for the last 2 hours. Let me chill for the rest of the day.
yeah, let me just take a walk or something. Yeah,
Exactly. You can't
everything.
just have like that's 11 o'clock in the morning, go to the park and have a cigarette kind of situation. Because I do that some days. If I'm like
Yeah, yeah,
I write in the morning and I'm like, cool, I need to think about this for a bit. I'll hit a walk for sure. But now, obviously, you can't do that. You've got to be on call. You've got to be available for other people. But there obviously, as you say, there are advantages to working with a team. Like that is a big difference now. And I suppose the cool thing about it is you get more feedback on ideas and you get to like bounce stuff around quite a bit. Or am I wrong there?
yeah. That's quite a thing. I mean, now it's easier for someone to tell you that, yo, that idea is shit, or that execution of that idea is shit. Maybe the idea is really great. So I think that's also like something else, it's like a good source of criticism. Whereas before you just do things and you
And
revert to
everyone
plan.
blows smoke up your ass because you're getting all the likes on Instagram because people are your friends and like they don't necessarily
Yeah,
have as high a standard.
yeah. So also like my social media sucks. Um
That's true. That is true. For someone who's like as good at like photography as you are, your social media is fucking nowhere. And it makes me laugh just at like the way society and stuff is structured at the moment. Because I've seen a few photographers complain about the fact that they don't get jobs sometimes because brands want them
yeah,
to have like at least 10,000 followers on Instagram. And you're fucking nowhere near that. But you've obviously worked for big brands and you've done like a lot of dope work over the years.
yeah, man. I think it also just boils down to, when you're like working with like a higher clientele, if I can call it that. It's more client based and more work based than it is popularity based. So you just have to know how to sell yourself to the right people. It's way different than what people think it is. I think everyone always wants to work with
A
brands,
popular
but
person. Oh, okay,
not
you're
even,
talking from the photographer's side.
yeah, they want to work with brands, but they don't specify what kind of brand. So no one says, I want to work with a food brand. Someone will say, I want to work with, and then they say a specific name. Whereas there can be 10 other brands which can give you the same amount of money or even more. But because your eye is so focused on this one particular brand, your whole thinking changes. So, yeah, man, it's just really, you need to sell yourself to the right people.
When did you figure that
Yeah.
out?
I think in 2013, really. Yeah, 2013. And because we were doing that style reporter thing for Elle magazine. And
Okay, yeah, I
then
remember that.
yeah, so you start attending all these events, and then you realize that there's like all these top-notch people, but they're not their social media is shit. They're not like in front of your eyes. They're like behind the scenes guys.
Yeah,
They're
they're
the
the
guys.
ones making all the decisions, so they don't need to have, 10,000
Yeah.
followers on Instagram. They're the ones that
And
have like the
yeah,
10,000 rands per hour in their bank account.
yeah, it's those guys. And you just realize like when you're going into like meetings and stuff, you chill with those guys, and I think they kind of like give you the mindset and just the method of doing things and how you actually reach a certain point of whatever craft you're doing, and also just how you maneuver it, like how you work around it, how to make yourself better. You don't need 10 cameras. You need one brilliant camera. It can be from 20 years ago. It still does the same job, but it's
You
really
just need to
good.
know how to use it.
Yeah, like stuff like that, like, but it applies across all other like aspects of just creation, or just or business or whatever. So yeah, I think around that time, I was really, because before that I was just doing random shit. I man, I was just, but it was
I
a
know
good
you
time.
started out. I know you started out with music, right? Like that was your
Yeah,
first love, and you DJ'd quite a bit. I know you still DJ from time to time, but if I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
correctly, that's how you got into everything, right?
yeah. So wherever I couldn't DJ, I'd go and photograph because I'd probably like I enjoy like all types of music. So I can't DJ like rock or indie or so I'd go to an indie event or rock event or whatever, punk whatever event, and it would work out because now I'm there and I'm enjoying the music, but I'm not DJing, but I'm getting the best of both. So and it was pretty cool just meeting everyone back in the day. Like things were a bit different. Social media wasn't even like a thing,
Yeah, you
but
actually
it was
met people
there.
and spoke to them.
Yeah, it was there, but it wasn't like a thing. Like it wasn't like you wouldn't see a phone all night long. Like you'd only see a phone if someone is calling someone else. Like, hey, where are you? Or whatever. And it was pretty cool, man. It was a great time. So it was also a nice space to be in because the music was also like still also like really great. People went out to listen to shit, like yeah. I
Yeah, and it
mean,
was like a diverse range of sounds. I remember Durban, especially about like between about 2008 to about 2013, had such a diverse range of bands, DJs, rappers, producers all coming together in lots of different spaces, and really it happened a bit more every now and again afterwards, but it never had that same community feeling. It never had that like feeling of togetherness that I remember the scene used to basically have.
also there were so many venues. Um,
Yeah,
I don't
you
know
could
how
go
the
to like 3 venues in a night, like at
yeah,
least.
I don't know how venues died out because that was a thing, man. Like you had your besides like the traditional venues we had, like your Winstons, there were like other ones like your Unity 11s, which was like
There were,
mo- yeah, there was quite a lot. So yeah,
yeah, but there were a lot of licensing issues with the city and that. Like the city really got like at that time especially wasn't good at giving out like live venue licenses. I know that Live the Venue struggled with it. I know that Unity 11 struggled with it. I know
yeah,
Burn basically had some problems with direction. Like they closed themselves off a lot by just going for the metalheads
yeah,
and not really catering as openly as Burn had before that. And yeah, Unity 11, I think there were a few different issues that came together at the same time, and they
yeah,
decided, like between licensing, between monetary issues and stuff like that, between having lots of people working together on the project, I think they decided, it wasn't worth carrying on, and it was a struggle, man, to like keep a venue going back then. I know Live the Venue had mad issues, and the Winstons always had, issues when it comes to just, yeah, making enough money to keep going.
yeah. I don't know. With places like Live the Venue, like it was such a big venue. I was huge, man, but it could fill up. So I
Yeah,
also
dude.
I also don't understand how the city couldn't place initiatives around stuff like that.
I
And
think it's about who's in touch with who and who's paying
yeah,
who. You know how things work, and I think that's been a big problem with Durban for a long time. Is that the city is? I mean, there's a couple people within the structures who do try and help, but they don't have
Yeah.
that much power. And the people who do have power and the people who do release funds and that, it's very, from what I've seen, it's very nepotistic and it's very insular, and that money doesn't go to the spaces that are actually creating and helping. And I mean, even like with same-sex Saturdays, that's something that has become an
Yeah.
institution. Like that is something
Yeah.
the city should be supporting for sure. You look at like what Ryan and them were doing with First Thursdays, and just the First Thursdays down the Station Drive. You look at lots of venues in Durban that have actually contributed immensely to the city. I even know, like, I mean, Tira is now lacquer when it comes to things, but from
Yeah.
conversations I had back in the day, like it was a struggle for them to get the city on board with Fact Urban Rocks, from what I
Yeah. Like,
understand. I might be wrong there,
yeah.
but that's what I've
No,
heard.
no, no. Yeah, for real. I mean, for him, for example, he had to win like DJ competitions in Joburg on national radio for the city of Durban to say, "Hey, this guy is bubbling under." And then when you go to him, he's not bubbling under. He's already a celebrity on the streets. Everyone knows him in his scene. So I also think it's just I'm not sure if it could be me, or I think the age thing. Um,
Yeah, maybe we're
uh,
disconnected from stuff.
yeah, like no, like even the people in the higher places, they're not connected with
Oh
the
yeah.
with the people on the ground. Maybe because I don't know. Maybe because they're like elderly people. I don't know. Like maybe it's the lifestyle. I don't
Yeah.
know how it works.
Yeah, the
So
odds are for them attend at the July.
yeah, and I don't think that they don't have the money. They have the money. Trust me, I know. But how do we utilize this? Because the more we utilize it, the more like I don't know how to really describe it, man. It's quite a thing, though. It's quite a thing.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's why I also think stuff that when it works well is because it's done without funding. Like the things that are organic, things that
Yeah,
actually are supported by crowds are genuine. You know that it's not just because people had tons of money thrown at them by the city and they've got this huge stage, but only 100 people show up to the event. Like it's 3 million, because I've actually done that. I've been to events where it's like 3 million rand spent on the thing, and
yeah,
probably like 500 people total come to the event. But then you look at other events, like once again, we'll bring up Same-Sex Saturdays because I know you work with them quite closely. Yeah, like you look at an event like that, it started off small. I've been to ones where, there was probably 100, 200 people, and now it packs out immensely. And that's just been done organically.
yeah. Like with stuff like that, man. I'll speak about same-sex Saturday later, but just speaking generally about stuff that doesn't really have funding. There's also this thing of once your product gets recognition by the people who can fund it, and then they want to have a hand in it as if
Yep.
they are running it or they are behind it or for marketing
That
purposes or whatever.
that's the problem. If you get that funding from the city of Durban, then the city of Durban's going to be like, look at our event.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, you've spent 3 years building it up.
yeah, they placed that sticker on your poster bigger than your logo. Not in a bad way, but I think that's just how it works.
Yeah.
And and now they like, okay, if we're pitching in this amount of money, we have to get this artist in here. And now it just disturbs your foundation of whatever you started. And yeah, I think that can also be a problem. So I think even the people who like do sponsorships, like in those teams, there needs to be someone who is really aligned with like a 360 of what's happening on the grounds. People who ask
But
questions.
there's so many
People,
people there who think they know, dude. That's the biggest problem I've found is dealing with brand managers and hearing what they think is cool, and like hearing what they listen to in the car, and you're just like,
Yeah,
how are you the one making decisions? Like, you know nothing about the culture, like other than,
yeah.
what you see on TV or whatever, like, yeah, that's,
I,
there's a lot of,
I mean,
I think the
I,
biggest
I,
problem we have is the people making decisions are the wrong people. That's often the situation.
I mean, I personally, I feel like the one thing that could make the city of Durban like really great in terms of stuff like that is if there was like a working class youth who could afford things as like Joburg. In Joburg, you just throw a party or you do whatever because the youth works and the youth has jobs and nice paying jobs or well paying jobs. They can afford
Well,
to go.
a decent section of them, like everyone in Joburg can afford, well, not everyone, but like the people who go to the Winston and Durban, if they're in Joburg, they can go to like places that are more expensive than the Winston, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So if there was more of like a working class youth, then things would change because now you'd host events and not depend on sponsors because you already know that you have a crowd or a following. But now it's hard. Like you can't do it all the time. You can only do it like once a month or once in 2 months because people need to save or people have money at like the same time.
Yeah, that's
And
what all the events in Durban are on payday weekend.
yeah, and then mid month it's quiet. Everyone's drinking from home or at the chilling at
February
the
is
pub.
also quiet. February is the quietest month in Durban by a long shot.
It's wild, dude. January in Joburg is like the wildest. It's like peak festive season. I don't even know what to call that shit. Cause it's just like everyone is just I don't know, like it's wild. But yeah, so I think if the city had like infrastructure that can employ like youth and also like just create different like broader job sectors, work sectors.
Yeah, but now you're talking to bigger issues that we're facing with the
Yeah,
country in general.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Can the whole city survive on tourism? Like that, not in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, is that the
No, I'm
only?
with you.
Yeah, like, is that the
Especially with
only?
COVID, that's something that has definitely come into effect is that no, we
Yeah,
can't necessarily make our money off of tourism and, outside stuff and even stuff like big concerts, like the MTV events,
yeah.
which I think were really dope and I'm glad they brought that and stuff. But like, you can't do that at the moment. So what is the
Ah,
actual plan here? And yeah, that definitely brings up a lot of different issues with regards to not breeding locally, not investing properly in local infrastructure. And but that's just been the issue, I think, in general forever. Like since
yeah. I think it's older than us.
exactly, man. Like
Mm,
and I think it's an intentional thing to a degree. I think politicians know that, the arts have power to affect
yeah,
change and to impact people. And so they don't necessarily want to be giving artists money. Maybe it's a
yeah,
little bit conspiracy theory from my side, but it does seem like the art stuff that gets money is the commercial side of things. It's the MTV stuff. It's your
yeah.
Essence festivals
That's
and
not
things
even
like
like
that.
that's not even like really the arts. That's more entertainment, commerce kind of because it really is entertainment. Like it has a stage, it has a presenter, it has marketing, it has
Yeah, it's not
PR.
art.
Yeah, maybe there could be artists in the whole thing, but the overall idea is entertainment, you know?
Yeah,
You
entertainment and
yeah.
marketing for the city, marketing for the brands involved, marketing for the artists.
So yeah, man. Yeah. Oh well. Ah.
Interesting start to the conversation.
Yeah, sure. And
Yeah, man. But so actually, yeah, we were starting this with getting into how you started with with music, and then also I guess photography since they ran concurrently. So tell me about the early days, dude. What was young Thanda like?
yo, yeah. Very energetic. I think I started losing like energy or momentum when I like the older I grew up. But I was very energetic, very flexible, always running around, and I broke stuff. Then I fixed stuff. So yeah, I
Always
was
had a
born.
screwdriver with the electronics.
Yeah, man, I am still that guy even today. Yeah, so I was born in Durban, man. Umbi, King Edward.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
hood.
that's a kick-ass hospital and a kick-ass hood. Yeah, so I was born there, and then I moved to the Western Township of Claremont. Then I just grew up there for a while, and then my dad moved to go to Glenwood because he started working as a teacher back in the day.
Okay.
So yeah, so we all moved to Glenwood. Yeah, so I was just in between Glenwood and Claremont, and then we eventually decided to leave the hood, and then we just stayed in Glenwood. But I also spent some time in Potchefstroom because that's where my mom is from. So because I did my first grade in Potchefstroom Junior Primary, so yeah, I was living in the South Coast when I was 7. Yeah. But then I came back fully to Durban after that. Yeah, man, I went to like so many schools. I went to like 14 schools overall.
Wow. One
Because
one
I've,
for each year, more than one for each year. Sheesh.
yeah, I know some you'd go for like half a year, some you'd go for like 2 weeks because,
No, you would go. Me, I went to like four schools.
so yeah, it was pretty awesome. I think the best school I ever went to was Glenwood Prep. Oh,
Okay.
oh, yeah. Was
That's become
before.
quite a boichy school.
How is it now though?
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Like now it's like prim and proper. They've got sponsorships around the fields. They've got like solar
Yeah,
panels on the roof. Like it's quite a like preppy school now. Which yeah, I mean if that's what you want for your kids, go for it. Seems
yeah,
like a decent place.
yeah. It is pretty cool. I mean, I went there when it was Parkview, and then
Yeah.
I think on the year it changed into Glenwood Prep, I was leaving. So that was like the times before Mr. R Day, the infamous. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, so yeah, man. And then I relocated to a northern town in KZN called Vryheid. It's like this small little
Yeah, I'm not afraid. It's right there by
Dutch.
Free States, isn't it?
No. It's up
Okay.
north, up north KZN. No, there's another one there actually. So you're right, but this one is the one here.
Okay,
But
my bad.
it's literally the same thing. Afrikaners, Dutch people, Zulu people, and colored people who speak Afrikaans.
And
So it's
everyone's
like,
separate or
yeah, it's weird. It's pretty racist. And I'd come from a city
from Glenwood,
where,
like which
yeah,
is always quite a like liberal-ish space.
yeah, like Glenwood has always been like very liberal, and you coming from there and you moving into this place where you can actually tell that black people are black people and Afrikaners are Afrikaners and colored are colored, and you're just like, whoa, I've been living under this umbrella. It was a nice experience. Just changing scenarios, just the whole thing. Even the language. The language is different. They speak like a different type of isiZulu. They speak a different type of English. It's just a place on its own compared to where I was coming from. So yeah, that's yeah. I think in terms of living, that's where I've lived. And then after that, I mean, I I relocated to
You've moved
Joburg.
a lot though.
Yeah, dude, so much.
Are you like
So
just a nomadic type of person now because of your childhood essentially? Like because you got so used to moving around and you picked up the different nuances of the different spaces. Nowadays that probably comes a lot easier to you than like someone like me who's stuck in Durban for like the whole my whole life basically. I mean I've been to boarding school and stuff like that, but I
uh,
imagine me moving somewhere else would probably be a lot more different now than like if you had to move. Like for you I feel it would be pretty easy.
I mean, how would you feel if you had to move somewhere permanently, not just as a visit or
I mean, I'm considering it quite a lot
yeah,
at the moment,
yeah,
actually. Within the next couple of years, I think it would be a good idea to live somewhere else. It's just, I am someone who, like, I like the idea of traveling and having a base, like, and it's
yeah,
also, I stayed in the same place for, like, pretty much my whole life. So it was like this thing of, like, having a home, and knowing that I could always had a space that I could come back to. So the idea
yeah,
of moving, to another city or even to another country, you're rarely like on your own in a lot of cases. And that does obviously, you know, I'm a little worried about that. But at the
yeah,
same time, like I'm like, I've done all right so far. Like I've
yeah,
survived to this point, and
yeah.
I'm sure I could do it somewhere else as well. And I think it would be important for me to do so.
I mean, I can count. Let me count, because I moved back to Joburg in 18. I've moved 5 times. Yeah, since what? March 2018. I've
So
moved
I take
five
it,
times.
I take
Yeah,
it you don't have much furniture.
I do now because I've found like a decent spot and whatever. But I'm also moving there, so I'm not buying everything. I'm just buying like I don't know, disposable stuff. Like yeah. So it's look, I really want to be in a good space. But in order to be in a good space, you have to like search and search and search. I've never been a person who's like comfortable. I don't get comfortable easily, like I have to
Sure.
be, yeah, like I have to be, it has to be the right thing, like, or nothing kind of thing. So
I
yeah,
get that about you, actually.
yeah. So that's why like when someone asks me, are you still doing that thing? I'm like, no, I'm not. Because maybe I'm not, I don't have any benefits from it, or maybe I'm not getting anything positive from it. So yeah, man. It does get quite hectic though, because sometimes you just want the peace of mind, and you just like, oh,
Stability.
yeah, peace of mind, stability, and also there's just also like many other factors outside of where you stay, who's surrounding you. You know,
Yeah.
it's literally always about how you feel, because we can it's like buying stuff. Like you can buy all the stuff that you want, but how do you feel? At the end of the day, yeah, there's just many things to it, but I think the right time is coming. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm
In the
patiently
right
waiting.
space.
Yeah, the right space as well. So yeah,
Yeah. Is stability why you moved into the advertising space?
not really.
Oh,
I think
okay.
no, hell no. Of exploration, like I just want to explore because I feel like I've got like some really hectic ideas in my head and just do shit, for the sake of doing shit and doing shit for the sake of doing great shit at it. So I think that was like the initial aim, but also I was just very tired of how I was performing in Durban because I was getting tired. I was starting to deliver like really subpar work because I was
Okay.
just tired. I was tired physically. I was tired mentally, more mentally than physically though. Emotionally as well. Like so many things were happening. It wasn't a good space to be in. So I just decided. I was like, okay, cool. I'm out. Like I literally woke up one day. I was like, I'm leaving. I don't know when. but I'm leaving. And then like 4 months later, I was out. So I wasn't worried about where I'm gonna go. I was just like, let me call people I know if they can help me in assistance. And then I won. So yeah, it was more about that. But now once you get into like the ad industry, it starts you start learning more in-depth stuff about the industry, and then you start realizing that, oh no, actually I could be I could be way better in something else than what I'm doing, because you had never really explored that side of you.
So
So
you're
it's been,
talking going from photography to being a creative director.
yeah, like from in my case, it was like from photographer to multimedia lead designer to art director, and then to like being a creative art director in digital, and then back to being a digital or being a through the line art director, which is like you do everything. So you do billboards, you do web ads, you do video editing, animation, etc., etc. Whereas if I had stayed, I don't think I would have pushed myself, because one, there's no one else who can say, hey, come through and let me show you how this works. And two, there's no way I can work if if I have the skill, which which pretty much sucks, because
Well, there are
shit,
places you could work, but you don't get anywhere near the same amount of remuneration as you do in Joburg. Like, that's the unfortunate truth. There's like people working
yeah,
advertising in Durban are doing it because they love living in Durban. Like, that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, but there's also like so many agencies opening up there, like branching off from bigger agencies here
Yeah.
to that side, because the world is going digital. So anyone who didn't invest in a digital skill within advertising is probably going to be fucked in the next 5 years,
Okay, I'm quickly
because
going to pivot to advertising. Thanks. Which, so you're
sorry?
saying the future is just going to be basically idiocracy. It's just going to be advertising everywhere.
Yeah, but it's digital now. It's digital. So like like before, you'd find like 4 to 5 DTP guys just
Mm-hmm.
doing like proper layout, like proper color evaluation, this, that, this, that, this, that.
Yeah, being a
Now,
DTP operator was like an incredibly skilled job.
now there's like one per agency. Literally every agency that I know has one DTP operator, bro. Just one. And now they don't even work with on freehand. They work on InDesign, which is part of another cloud system, which is going fully digital. You can't even buy it physically anymore. You have to buy it online. So everything is just going into this whole space, like if you're a copywriter, you have to know how to write for the web. You know, copywriters are
Yeah.
being trained. Copywriters are being trained to write 160 characters. Like,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
that's for blog po that's the thing. For blog posts, you've got to have like 300 words. That's about it. But I've been learning how to write for SEO. You know, your opening line has to have the same thing as the fucking title. That has to have the same thing as the keywords, and you have to link to this and like
no, no,
yeah, dude, and
no,
I hate that shit because
ah,
like when I started writing, I just started fucking writing. Like that was it. Like my opening sentence was what I thought would grab the attention of the fucking person like that was reading it, not the Google algorithm, you know?
yeah, and also like you speak about SEO now. I'm sure like 5 years ago, that was like, what the
We were
hell is
doing it.
we
We were doing
were,
it, but like it was minimal, bro. It was like it was
but
literally
now,
just having the stuff in there
but,
and like
but you see now, you get hired in agencies to do that, whereas
yeah.
before they had to get someone who was like a UI or UX specialist, SEO, SEM, PPC specialist. Now you come in as a strategist or a social media manager, community manager, whatever. And that's like the stuff you need to know before you even get the job. So yeah, so it's just changing a whole lot. Like you're not a writer anymore. Now you're becoming a guru in technicalities of how many people looked at your link, how many people clicked, where are they
Yep.
from, where they
I
what.
probably spend more time in analytics than I do fucking creating content sometimes.
Exactly.
Like,
So it also consumes you, right? Because once
yeah,
once you get used to, because now you have to take all that and then you have to take it to the data science guys. And now there's like data science and agencies. Now those guys have to put reports and say, look, we've made this much, we've made this much, and so many people come in and see our stuff, so many people are consuming it, whatever, whatever, whatever. That's the new way of like selling. And the more you sell, the more people you can hire, the more. So it's just it's a new wave that I don't think anyone has really caught yet. I think people have an understanding of it because
yeah.
you can't even study for it. Every
Well,
month
it's
there's a
constantly changing.
like that's why like I feel like university education might flop as time goes.
I think university education has been flopping since a long time ago. Like,
Yeah,
no offense to anyone with university education, like, big ups to you for completing a degree and learning, specifically what you need to learn. But there are obviously so many biases within the system. There's so many issues with people just being able to get into it. It's also what they teach you in university compared to what you actually want to know or need to know. Or,
yeah,
like, there's so many. That's why I say that. It's not to discourage anyone who actually wants to pursue it and wants to learn anything. Go ahead. I just think we are in a space now where, yeah, like you say, A, things are constantly evolving, and B, the information is out there. Like anything you want to learn, you can learn. I know
yeah,
you're pretty much like you've learned a lot of stuff on your own or through experience, right?
yeah, for sure, man. I mean, like you said, I think it's difficult getting into the uni space, like the university tertiary space. But I feel like the hardest part is getting out of it because so many
Okay.
people exit the space with so much debt.
Yeah.
And like once you start your life afresh, you're just starting your life backwards.
Didn't you
And
had that issue, didn't you?
yeah, yeah, but then I was just like, you know what? I really don't care. Because I also like dropped out at some point. I was like,
Yeah.
this thing is wasting my time. At some points I
Because you
didn't
were
have,
working, right? You were shooting at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, nah, I can't anymore, you know? I mean, you also like really have to take care of yourself because you really have like one body, um, one mind. Like that's all you have. If you stress yourself too much about shit like university or studying, if it's not going the right way, though, if you stress yourself too much, you must understand that all that stuff you didn't do 10 years ago when you wanted to is still there. Nothing really changes. Honestly, nothing ever changes. Like, especially in like a structured system where it's like like an educational institution. So it really is. At the end of the day, it's really about. I mean, I just like to call it patience more than anything. You just really need to
Okay.
be patient and just read, like read into situations if you feel like you want to. I mean, like for example, how I got into like the position I'm in. I I didn't want to go to Joburg to be a photographer. When I got there, I scraped the whole thing off. I was like,
That
I'm
was
not
the
coming.
first time you went, right? This was early 2010s, or was this 2018?
No, this is when I returned,
Oh,
like
okay.
2018. because I was like, I'm not gonna go to Joburg as a photographer because I've been in that space before. I was living in that space. I know how to navigate that space. I don't want to navigate the space again in a different place. What if this place has more to offer? And then I was just curious enough to ask people. So if I have these skills and I'm interested in this, and then people had answers. They're like, "Oh no, this is what you can do." Some of the stuff was new, like being a through the line art director who specializes in digital as well is something fairly new because like traditional art directors were like just graphic designers who do layouts. And now you have to do After Effects, you have to make stuff move, you have to edit sound, you have to do all these things. And I could do these things. But because I was asking the right questions and the right people, I got to know that there are like these new careers and these new, when you see these ads, these job ads where they say they want a designer who can do video, who can do this, who can do that, who can do that. I don't think a person who just came out of uni can be in that position
No.
because no, because
Well, it
you've
depends.
been
If you're doing like, a multimedia degree or something like that, maybe. But
yeah,
like if
yeah,
you're just doing a straight graphic design degree or you're just doing a film degree, you might, I mean, but then again, if you're doing those degrees, maybe that's because that's what you want to do more than, you want to get into advertising and be as broad as possible. But at the same time, like you pick up a lot of
yeah. Well,
skills just by being in the creative scene.
mm, yeah. I mean, multimedia is a different case. Like if you're studying that, you are like the guru of the whole thing. But let's say it's like you're doing graphic design, and then you will get employed as what? A graphic designer because that's what you have. But not knowing that maybe you're also interested in other things within the space, whereas you could have applied for that art director position, but because the term art director is something you're not familiar with, or it's something that is
Seems
not
out of
within
reach.
your, yeah, you will stay a graphic designer. No offense. If you want to be a graphic designer, you can be. That's like one of the highest paying jobs in the industry. But it's really, if you want to broaden whatever you do, you really need to research and ask people. I think asking is easier than doing like practical research, maybe just on online or whatever. If you ask people, people will tell you, "Oh no, I
I
came
think
in
that's
and I
actually
couldn't do this."
really good. Sorry, carry on, dude. Like,
Yeah, no, 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 I was done. I was done. I
yeah,
was
I was gonna
done.
say that's like, yeah, just really good advice because I'm someone that kind of goes around until I ask someone, like that's the thing. I'll do
Yeah,
research and I'll learn because that's the thing. So this year, the thing that I've been exploring is script writing because it fulfills a lot of the things that I enjoy, like from writing for stand-up comedy and also writing just in general. Like that's been my career for such a long time. And I've got a big love of film. I've got a big love of storytelling. I think I understand it fairly well. And so this year for me was cool. Let me actually explore script writing. And then I did a course on Coursera. And I highly recommend people go do that because you can literally study for free on Coursera. You can learn anything you want to learn.
yeah,
And I did like a 6 week course. I wrote a sitcom pilot. I wrote like the Bible and everything for that. And that was cool, practical experience in a way. But then I started chatting
yeah,
to other people in the industry and actually finding out how things work more and more and more. And like, that's the thing. Like, chatting to people who have experience and chatting to people who might know more than you is definitely a good way
mm,
to move forward or just to find new spaces and new things because there are lots of people out there
yeah,
who are willing to help you. And like you and me, we kind of were outsiders, in the beginning, and I think I kind of still
yeah,
am.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
Um,
like But at the same time, through interacting with people who are on the inside, we've gained more knowledge and gained more insight and know how to work within different spaces a bit better now. Whereas university can obviously teach you some of those things, but not necessarily the same way as just talking to someone who's in the industry, like on this
Yeah,
podcast.
so yeah, man. I mean, someone the other day was like, well, it's not the first time though. Someone was like, I should like be a ghostwriter for like comedy and stuff. I'm like, hell no, because I'm just like, yeah, maybe my sense of humor is like too dry sometimes.
Hey, with
But
the right
also, if
delivery, everything can work as long as the jokes are good
but
and they suit
yeah,
the person telling them.
yeah, but also if I could like develop the jokes, and then someone who is a writer can further develop what I wrote, that could be something. But if I don't ask people in the comedy industry how they do it or how they can assist, I'll never know, and then I'll die with this gift that I don't know I have, you know?
Well, we
So
can chat. We can chat at some point. I'm sure I can give you a few pointers. I've written a
yeah,
couple of jokes in my time. I haven't
yeah,
I haven't written like a proper joke in a while, but it's been fun writing jokes in scripts, like in dialogue and stuff, and having banter, and that's actually been a fun thing to
yeah,
explore because, yeah, with stand-up comedy, it's a monologue, you're very much, and it's a monologue that's
yeah.
trying to trigger a very specific response at very specific times, so it's an interesting space to work in, but now like yeah, it's just complete like writing scripts is a completely different space, but you're still using similar ideas of like timing, of callbacks, of all of those sorts of things. So yeah, man,
Mm.
like you should definitely like explore it if it's something you want to do. I'm one of those people that's like whatever thing it is that you want to explore, give it a go. I mean,
Just
I've, I'm like I've forgotten so many things that I've tried, like in the creative field and in general in my life. Like if I try and put together a CV, it's always a struggle because it's always like, okay, what did I do here or there? Do I include like these things? Do I include these things? And yeah, it's just about being adaptable and just being as open as possible to as many different things as possible. But that's just the way I try to do things, I guess.
yeah, man. So yeah, I guess that's how it works. But it also like there is a point where you feel like you're not moving or you're not going anywhere with whatever you're doing.
I think people who listened to
Uh,
last week's episode of the podcast know that I felt like that a little bit recently.
yeah. There is like a time where you're just like, what the hell am I doing? And you're just like, should I just quit the shit or so look,
Come to
it
Jesus
works out.
moments.
Oh, just like, oh, what should I do? Should I go be a waiter? Like you just have those things. Like,
Dude, I've been thinking about that. I've been being like, fuck, if I need to, I'm gonna go bartend because it's a consistent income in a time where, because a lot of journalists have lost their jobs this year, like myself
yeah,
included. Like
yeah,
I'm no longer with Bubblegum Club. We do have like a freelance thing, and I might write for them a bit. But I do have a piece coming out with Red Bull soon, and I'm pitching to other people and stuff like that. But I've got way more
yeah,
competition now than I ever had before. Like in so many different levels. Like I've got the youngsters coming up. I've got the older people who are in
yeah,
traditional media who have been fired now. And I've got like all the
yeah,
other people on my level who I've like grown with. We're all competing
yeah,
now in this like smaller space. So yeah, like in terms of that, I'm definitely just feeling the pressure there quite a bit, when it comes to writing and when it comes to that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's why for me it's like you got to diversify your portfolio as much as possible.
you have to, man. I won't lie. But it's a good thing, if you can tell yourself that I'm sacrificing this for the next best thing, which I want to do, or this one goal, or whatever goals you have, then I think it's worth it at the end, because when you go to bed, all you have is you and your thoughts, and there's no one else is there. No one can actually say, "Oh, hey, why is he a barman now? Wasn't he ABC, ABC?" So yeah, man, people should just go for it. If it works out, it'll work out.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I've definitely thought about, like, even when I like posted online the other day that I needed work, that I was looking for work at the moment. A part of me felt like a little bit ashamed to do it because it was like I've got to project a certain level of success like within my career already, like
Yeah.
but at the same time, we're in a fucking pandemic. Like, what do you mean you've got to project a certain level of success in your fucking
Ooh.
career? Also, your career is kind of average. Like, that's fine. Like, that's what it is. It's not like like why are you trying to project this thing of like you don't need money when you need fucking money? Like, that's just so silly
Yeah.
because of like pride. And that's the thing where you can even do that in terms of sticking with certain things, or not taking the bartending job because you're like, how will people think about me if I go from doing these things? I've been on TV and this and that. But one of my favorite episodes of the WTF podcast with Mark Maron is actually with Kevin
Yeah.
Bacon. And he talks about, I think it was Footloose, or it might have been the movie before that. So I think it was his first big movie that he did. He actually, he wasn't really a part of the cast and crew. Like, they negged him pretty hard. Like, they just were like, nah, you're not one of us, because it was like super famous people and he was the new guy on the spot. And on the opening night of the film, he actually went back to the restaurant that he was working at because I don't know if he wasn't let in. I think he was let in, but he just didn't know anyone there and he just wasn't fucking vibing with it. So he went back to the restaurant that he was still working at whilst he was in a premiere of a major movie. Like, he landed up going back and working at that restaurant for months before becoming Kevin fucking Bacon. So
Yeah.
I think about that a lot, like the way perception like comes into play a lot when it comes to the entertainment industry, and especially like when you're a performer, but even when you're not. So, like, as we were talking about in the beginning, like when it comes to social media for people like photographers and that these days, there is just this big thing about perception, and that can get you in a lot of trouble instead of actually just going, what is the reality? What do I really need to do here? Rather than trying to play things up for the audience. I think that's just more a lesson for myself there.
Yeah. It's good that you are teaching yourself. That's wisdom right there.
If only, like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
man.
to listen back to these things like one day and like you're like, oh, if I just took my own advice, I would be okay now. No, I'm totally doing fine. Although one thing I did want to chat to you about with this conversation, I guess we can talk about it for the end here, is one of my fondest memories of you is us having rocks thrown at us in town. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. So man, like I I consider myself like a daredevil. I am as calm as I am. Like I'm really not afraid of anything. But that shit we did that day was wild because we it was a protest, right? Yeah,
It
it was a
was
protest.
the xenophobic violence was flaring up in town. And so,
Yeah,
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 there were the multiple factors clashing against each other. And I had a car at the time, and we wanted to go and see for ourselves and try get photos and like to cover it for Durban is yours. I think that was the plan.
yeah.
So, yeah, I had a car at the time, and we just chatted on Twitter, I think. And we're like, cool, let's go, let's go check it out.
Yeah, that was wild. Like, and it came out of nowhere. Those stones, people throwing stones,
Yeah, dude, things were
the
relatively
cops.
calm at that point.
Yeah, and the
Before
cops just came
before that, there
out.
was, yeah, dude, the cops always instigate shit though. That's one thing
Yeah,
I've
the
learned
cops
at
came.
protests over the years, because that was also one of my first experiences in those kind of situations. That was
Yeah,
different. It's not really protest. That was just, different people clashing with each other. It was because there had been xenophobic issues, and then I think that was the day that the foreign nationals actually came out of their flats and took to the streets. I think that was the situation.
At some point, there was a fire burning where we were. I think it was a tire on the road. And
there was a lot of that.
That was like looking back, that was fun, but like not fun. It was serious at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know if I would like looking back. I could go, it was exciting. It got the blood racing. It definitely was. Like I just remember thinking like I've not parked my car far enough away. Like that was the one thing I was busy thinking. I was like, oh, my car is gonna get stoned today. Like, the rock started raining down and we just had to scatter. Like after that, we just bailed. That was just
I was also surprised. Like, where do people get so many rocks in the CBD? Like,
where did they come from?
That was a day. I don't know if it was good or bad. It was a day we had.
It was definitely a real life like experience. That was the thing. I mean, and it's not like, I've been devoid of real life experiences, growing up in Umbilo and like, just being a South African citizen who go, like I go to town, I am someone who engages with culture and like, man, that was still one of the more hectic days of my life. Like and one of the times where I was genuinely like, oh shit, I'm in danger. like that meme, like the Simpsons meme, I think it's Rolf who's on the bus where he's like, he chuckles and he's like, I'm in danger. It's like, it was very much like that. When the rocks started coming down around us, it was very much like, oh, this could happen.
Like, let's go home. That was cool. Did you take down the site, the blog? Okay.
Yeah, I will probably put it back up one day. Like I've got it on a USB. Like I've got the whole website, so I can just upload it again one day if I ever want to. It's just I've got to pay for the hosting and stuff like that, and also like a part of me likes the idea of it being just an impermanent thing. There's a part of me who's like, it's a record and this and that. And a part of me is also like, it's a time and a place, and one of the things about the internet is that things don't go away. And it's kind of cool to have something disappear.
Jeez, when I look at that image of you guys, the first, I think it was the launch.
It was pretty early on, It was Luke and Stuthy, Russell, me.
And Stuthy and Russell, you. Oh, you guys look so young. What?
Bro, we were young. We were so young, and like it was so crazy what we did with that blog, like out of pretty much nowhere. It was a fun, interesting experience. I'll say that much. Like I never expected it to do as well as it did or to have the impact that it did, and in a weird way it ruined a lot of my expectations going forward. I think for a lot of things, because it like had it had a lot of success early on. I don't think people really understand like just how quickly it like blew up, and it had a lot of hits and it had a whole lot of people interacting, and it was a space where people actually went and commented. Like before the News 24 comment section, the Durban is yours comment section was the most lit comment section in South Africa. So it was a fun experience, dude.
It was like the blog spot. So people were like really into blogs shit. So
dude, people actually like read what other people said on spaces other than Facebook and Twitter. Like you had opinions that were longer than fucking 260 characters. Like nowadays your hot take needs to be one line. Like, that's it. You've got one sentence and that's it. Before you could like
Oh,
do 1,000 words and why you hated a band. Now you have to tag them in the tweets and then have them like quote tweet you and then you're famous.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, no. Look,
oh,
we've come far, yo. So, and also like
we
these
really
guys,
have, dude.
and all these guys like from back in the day who used to blog, they don't take down the blog, so you can always go and look back and you be like, whoa, these guys used to take care of their blogs. The headers were nicely designed, fonts, and I don't know how they got
You had to
tired.
make decisions.
Yeah, they took it as a job, and I don't know how everyone got tired of doing it. I got tired
Well,
of doing it. Like I was like, I'm not
for me,
gonna
it was
blog
just
anymore.
like the hits stopped. Facebook throttled our
Yeah,
reach immensely. And when that happened, it just started becoming this thing of like, well, you're putting in all this effort, like, producing daily content, and it's only being seen by 100 people a day. In comparison to like at Durban is Yours' peak, we were doing about 2,000 people a day. And
oh,
like that really was because of Facebook hurting our reach, Twitter hurting our reach. The algorithms changed a lot of stuff. Like external linking became like a death knell on Facebook. You had to post with a photo to your link and this and that, and it all became way more of like we were talking about in the beginning. You got to know all these other fucking things. Where before
yeah,
it was just the content worked. We created like dope articles, people read them, and they either liked them or they hated them, and they told people about it. And
yeah,
nowadays, I feel like that's so much harder to do, like to get that organic reach on, actual opinion and stuff like that, or cultural opinion, I guess. That's not just about fucking Drake or, the big names. Like if you want to write
yeah,
about a local band, because that was it. We wrote about local bands, like, and that created
yeah,
fucking real traction. But nowadays, if you write about a local band, you'll get fucking 10 hits on it. And I know that because for the Almost Perfect website, I've written about a few local releases and, not big names or anything. But on Durban is Yours, when it started, it would have got a couple hundred, views. And now it's not even like reaching 100 views. And I don't mind that because I'm not pushing the content super hard and this and that. It's just a personal thing. When I like something, I'm going to write about it. And that's
yeah.
a very healthy way for me to deal with all of this stuff now. But it is different. It does feel weird. It does feel strange going from dealing with having an audience to partly rejecting the audience in some ways, and now also just, I guess, what's that saying? Fuck, there's some comedians, but that's it. You got to like whittle down to your audience. That's the
Yeah,
goal, I think, of any artist. It's not to like really reach as many people as possible. It's to reach the right people.
of course, man. Of course. In anything you do, look, it can be 5 people. Those 5 people will tell another 10. Those 10 will tell 20. And then you'll be fine in the end. It's just the beginning can be really rough. But yeah, at the end, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and the thing is, to me, it's also, even if those 5 people don't tell 20 other people, if those 5 people dig it, then where's the harm?
Yeah, at least you
Like you
made
did
it.
something you enjoyed, they got enjoyment out of it. It's the
Yeah,
problem's when you put expectations on things. The problem is when you go, I expect 2,000 people to care about this thing. And that's my biggest issue. It's that, and it's also
yeah,
comparing myself to other people. Like, seeing like my peers in the industry and seeing the
yeah.
numbers on their things. That is something I've just had to like work on so hard, and I'm still not there. I still get caught up, you
Unlear
know?
unlearning.
Yeah, dude, there's so much unlearning to do. Life is not long enough for me to unlearn everything.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Oh, well, I feel
Oh,
like
no,
I feel like I took up the last part of the conversation there,
no,
but
no, no. No, I was gonna say this the similar thing. So I think you put it out there on
Yeah, man.
behalf of me.
It's a collab.
Yeah, bro. Everything is cool. I don't know when I'm gonna come back to Durban. I know during the festive season I'll be back.
If there's a
So
festive season, we'll see.
yeah. Oh, I hope we can travel, man, because that would be fucked up if I can't travel back home. That would suck.
Yeah, I'm planning to come to Joburg to visit my mom for Christmas. We'll see. So yeah,
Alright.
we'll see if we can or if we can't. But whatever happens, that stuff is out of our control.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, bro. No,
But
this
cool,
this
man.
was a this was a good one.
Yeah, dude, it just flew by, dude. Like I knew chatting to you would be like this. It would just like even some of the other things I had in mind to chat to you about gone out the window.
Yeah,
But we'll probably catch up again in a few years once this podcast has a couple thousand people listening to it,
no, it's
Then
actually
we can
good.
get.
Like I listen to it. Like I've got some favorites as well on it.
Yeah, no,
Um,
dude, the numbers are not bad for this thing at all. Like I get caught up in my own head about stuff, and I have such a whack view of success sometimes where this podcast, when I really look at it, it's incredible, like what I've done in 2 years. Like
yeah,
genuinely, the fact that this thing actually has an income is insane. Like in 2 years of Durban is yours, we'd probably made like 10 grand total, and most of that went to booze and drugs. So like
yeah.
for the team, not just for me. But that was like, yeah, now like, but that's also the thing. I've learned a lot from Durban is yours, and I've put that into this in some ways. And I've also gone towards finding my comfort zone and finding spaces that I feel comfortable in and head spaces that I feel comfortable in as well. And actually, before we go, one thing I did want to mention or bring up, I had a note in my head, was do you feel like you actually, as much as you say you're going towards comfort in some ways, that you enjoy feeling uncomfortable?
I think in in some things I do, in some things I don't anymore.
Okay.
Um, com comfort, yes. I really enjoy that shit. But uncertainty, not anymore, Like I'd like to be certain about most things.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So if it's a matter of between comfort and uncertainty, I'd say it's the uncertainty part which kind of throws me off now. Um,
So
but the comfort part.
would you say that like you don't mind, crashing on a couch tomorrow if you know the next day that you're gonna like be sleeping back in your bed?
No, that's you see now that's so if I'm crashing somewhere on a
That's
couch
already
because
your
I need
certainty.
cause I no because I need to be somewhere or I need to go somewhere within whatever I want to do, that's fine. Because I already know, like I'm certain that I'm going somewhere, you know.
Okay.
Yes, so that's fine. Comfort, man, it's just such a difficult thing to to differentiate in
Quantify.
this. Yeah, because I don't know, man. I'm sure at some point you get tired of always trying hard, right?
Do you though? Like
So,
that's the thing. Like I think
no,
maybe some days, but like I can't imagine like I just don't imagine retirement, Like genuinely. Like I can't imagine
yeah.
ever finding a time where I'm not just trying to do things.
I mean, also like you speak to people who have like been doing retirement and chilling, and I think most of them are just like, I'm bored, especially the ones who aren't doing anything. Because now you're chilling, there's nothing for you to do. Plus, you're getting this money that you've been saving since you started working in your 20s or 30s.
Yeah, so you had no reason
And
to like do anything.
yeah, what's next? Like, and then that's the problem. So if you don't set yourself up, I always say Everyone, if you want to live a very great life, have hobbies. Hobbies take so much away from you. Hobbies, if you have hobbies, bro, like you don't get bored, you don't bother anyone. Yeah, like you're just doing your thing in your own space, your own time. So get some hobbies, man. And
That's a great place for us to end off. Get some hobbies.
yeah, cycle, fish, kick a ball. I don't know, man. Do something. Paint,
Make
even if
miniature
you,
planes.
yeah, like just do some, collect stamps. I don't know what people do nowadays. It's like old stuff. But yeah, just do something so that when you have free time, you've got something to like boast about, something to boast about to yourself. To yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to be like proud of
Mm.
yourself for something other than going, cool, my tweet's got 10,000 likes today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, that's a dangerous one.
Yeah. Cool, bro. Thank you so much for your time. This has been such a wonderful chat. And yeah,
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing you again when I do eventually get to see you again.
cool, man. No, I'll let you know when I'm back. I was just so busy when I was back because I was back for like 5 days and I was just like, I don't even
Yeah,
get time.
I'm chilling on the social interactions still at the moment, but
Yeah,
once things are
uh,
a bit safer, yeah, we'll be fist bumping without masks on, hopefully.
yeah. All right, man.
Cool.
See, thanks a lot, bro.
No worries. Later, homie.
Short.